Hello again. The final chapter then of Emil and the Detectives. It's been a long old haul. The book itself is about 220 pages long, so it's quite a long children's book. But it's the final chapter which I'll read to you, and then afterwards I'll explain a little bit briefly about why I enjoyed it so much at about your age. Chapter 18, and the moral of that is, it was late in the afternoon before the party was over. Before the boys left, Emil promised to take Pony to tea with the Professor the next afternoon. Soon afterwards, Mr. Heimbolt came home and they had supper. When it was over, he fetched the £50 out of his cash box and gave it to Mrs. Tischbein. If I were you, I should put it safely in the bank, he told her. That's just what I mean to do, she replied. Oh no, cried Emil, that wouldn't be any fun for me. I want Mum to get herself an electric dryer and a coat with a fur collar. It's my money, it was given to me, and I can do with it what I like, can't I? You certainly cannot, declared his uncle. You're only a child, and you can't touch it. Your mother must decide what's to be done with the money. Emil got up and went across to the window. You are silly, Dad, said Pony. Can't you see that Emil wants to give his mother a present? Grown-ups are frightfully dense sometimes. Of course she must have the dryer and the coat, put in Grandma. But you'll let the rest of the money go into the bank, won't you, my boy? Oh, yes, said Emil, turning back to them. That's perfectly all right if Mum says so. All right, you young millionaire, I give in. We'll go shopping first thing in the morning, shouted Emil contentedly. You'll come too, won't you, Pony? Of course I will, said his cousin, as if I'd stay at home fly-catching while you go out shopping. But you must get something for yourself too, after you've got the hairdryer for Auntie. Why not a bike? Then mine won't get smashed up with you riding on it. Emil, you haven't broken Pony's bicycle, have you? Asked his mother anxiously. Of course not, Mum. I only raised the saddle a bit. It was too low for me, and I had to crouch over the handlebars like a racing cyclist. Well, I declare, exclaimed Pony. If you mess about with my bike again, I'll never have anything more to do with you. If you weren't a girl and skinny at that, I'd teach you a few things, Pony Hutchin. But I won't quarrel with you today. And anyway, it's no business of yours what I buy or don't buy with my own money. And Emil stuck his hands in his trouser pockets with a truculent air. That's enough, you two, Grandma put in. This is no time for squabbling. And the matter was dropped. Later on, Mr. Heimbolt took the dog out for a run. They had no dog, as a matter of fact, but when her father went out for a glass of beer in the evening, Pony always said he was taking the dog out. Grandma, with Emil and Pony and their mothers, went over all the exciting events of the last 2 days once more. Well, no pain without some gain, they say, Aunt Martha said at last. I've learnt something anyway, said Emil. I shan't be likely to trust a stranger again. It's shown me, said his mother, that children shouldn't be allowed to travel alone. Nonsense, said Grandma gruffly. You're quite wrong there, quite wrong. Nonsense, 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 cried Pony, riding around the room astride a chair. So you don't think there's anything to be learnt from all that's happened? Said Aunt Martha. Oh, I hope so, said Grandma. What then? The others asked with one voice. Money should always be sent through the post, said Grandma, with a merry, tinkling laugh. 3 cheers, said Pony, and steered her chair out through the sitting-room door. And that is the final sentence in the book Emil and the Detectives, Eric Kästner's classic book. It has been read and recommended by some other very famous authors. There's Maurice Sendak on the front, who wrote Where the Wild Things Are, and that's he has written something. He described it as a little masterpiece. And Philip Pullman, who's a very famous children's author, wrote a lovely story, very exciting, with all sorts of important values in it. And there's various other authors who have written pleasant things about Eric Kästner's Emil and the Detectives. Now, the important thing to remember, I think, is that when I was younger, I wasn't somebody who read lots and lots and lots of different books. I was quite a reluctant reader, and I was quite particular about the kind of books that I liked. I think the reason that I enjoyed this one was because it was I think set in Berlin, in Germany. For some reason, I had a fascination with travelling when I was quite young. I never used to travel much as a family, very far, because I had such a big family, but I always fancied travelling quite a bit when I was younger. So it was set in Germany, and I think that's quite important. I think it was an adventure. It was involved travelling. It involved chasing and catching a thief. It involved arriving in a new city and trying to settle there. And what's interesting, of course, is that I did the same thing as a younger man. I went and travelled abroad quite a lot myself and lived in lots of several different places for quite a long time. So I think those are parts of the reasons. It's an adventure story. I still like those kinds of stories now. But I think for me what's important is that there's lots and lots and lots of books out there, thousands and thousands of different books, and they're all going to appeal. They're not all going to appeal to me because, as I say, I'm a little bit reluctant, and I know what I like and I like what I know, and so I have to find the books that suit me. I have to find that book that's going to capture me within the first 20-25 pages, and that I'll keep reading. Unfortunately, I know some people may not like this, but if I'm started a book and I don't enjoy it very much, and I'll read 100 pages of it and then I'll stop if I'm really not enjoying it. So I don't finish every book I read, but I need a book to read every day. So it's not like I can survive long without a book to read. And one of my favourite things is sitting in a bookshop or in a library, just looking around and looking for the sort of thing I would need, because you can walk into a library or a bookshop sometimes and be a bit overwhelmed with the thousands of books on the shelves, thinking, well, what am I going to like? So I spend quite a lot of time nowadays walking into bookshops and libraries and just taking it easy for an hour or so, and just reading the synopsis on the back, and I read the first couple of sentences. I read what other people have said about it, and I think that might be the sort of thing I would enjoy. So I hope that if you have managed to listen to all of them, and it's been a long old, it's been several days, weeks now that we've read a chapter, but if you have managed to stay with it, I hope you've enjoyed the story. I hope that it inspires you perhaps either to read it yourself, why not? Good books are worth reading several times, not just the once. Or you may want to look into other books which are similar to this, or you may be inspire you to have a look perhaps on the internet with your parents at books that you can order to go home, or you may want to wait until we're got a little bit more time to go out and visit shops when they're open again and spend a good couple of hours in a shop or a library. So I hope you've enjoyed the story. And I look forward to hearing from you, if you've managed to listen to everyone, about some of the comments you want to make about the story, what you liked about it, what you didn't like, what you would perhaps change, or indeed what other things that you enjoy reading that perhaps I could read. Because occasionally I still do read books written for children, just to find out what kind of children's literature is out there. So I do actually read stories written for children amongst all the other books I'm reading as well. So thanks for listening, and I hope you have a pleasant evening, and I'll speak to you again soon on the channel.